I just saw Dev Patel's directorial debut, Monkey Man, and I cannot wait to talk about it with you guys, so let's get into it. Firstly, I have to say I was pretty excited for this movie. 2024 so far, apart from a couple of prime examples like Dune Part 2, has been a pretty weak year for movies. Just so many soulless films that just make me feel so empty. So I was so excited to see Monkey Man, a film that looks like it has so much passion behind it and a new voice in the action genre. I just had to check this out. I'm also a pretty big fan of Dev Patel. I've loved his work over the years as an actor, so seeing him step into the director's chair as well is an interesting decision and had me fascinated in this movie. This film had such a troubled production. I don't know how he finished it because making this very video has been troubled. This is the third time that I'm filming it and my god, I just want to quit. So I don't know how he, with this multi-million-dollar movie with such an intense production that made him injured, had equipment break on him, had so many people depending on him in his first ever directorial effort, how he managed to keep pushing through and get this thing completed. Hats off to him. 100%. I have so much respect for Dev Patel for doing that. Now, let's get into this movie. I had really nothing but goodwill towards it. I really wanted nothing but the best for it. And I don't quite think it manages to hit the expectations that I had, but it does come out being a good movie, even if there are quite a few disappointing elements to it. Firstly, on the good side, I do think this just has a really distinct voice in the action genre. Dev Patel is directing as if he's never going to direct again, and sometimes that benefits the film greatly and hurts it too. He just takes so many risks here, and I do appreciate someone being able to do that over just going for something incredibly safe and generic. The action sequences themselves are filled with this tension. They're very visceral and brutal. Dev Patel's character always feels like he's in danger. He loses fights in this. And I really, really love that because it makes every fight mean something. When you watch something like John Wick, he is just a machine. He's a tank. And while that can be really cool at times, it also takes away all the tension from the fight scenes for me. In Monkey Man, I'm feeling it every single time. And I appreciate the way that he managed to capture that and make you feel something towards this character. He sells it with his performance. I think by far the strongest element to this movie is Dev Patel's lead performance. He commits to this role 100%, and he sells you on the emotional side of it so well. Just his facial expressions and line delivery are phenomenal, and even the way that his fight choreography changes throughout the course of this film is brilliant. I do think this film though is a tale of two halves. I think the first half of this film is significantly weaker than the second half of this film. I think in the first half of the film, the issue is this thing is really struggling to find its focus. It's trying to do all these different things and it's not really coming together into a cohesive package. And the same can be said towards the narrative. You have these character moments, you have his backstory being explored, you have this injection of culture and politics and all of these things, and while they're all pretty cool ideas in their own separate bubbles, it's not really coming together like I quite want it to, and because of that I'm held at a bit of a distance from the characters in that first half. However, in the second half, I do think Monkey Man finds its footing. It makes me connect with these characters so much easier, and it all just comes together really beautifully, culminating in an excellent scene at the very end of this movie with a great performance, fantastic action, and really, really stunning cinematography at times. In the first half, there are technical elements I also have a problem with as well, such as the cinematography, because it is filled with shaky cam, it is filled with quick cuts, it's just so messy and disorienting. And while that is purposeful, I understand why that was the decision that Dev Patel went with. It doesn't necessarily work for the film, even if I understand what it's doing. Just because it has an intention doesn't mean that it really translates all that well, because I don't think it really does when watching it. There's a car chase sequence in this, for example, that was just such a mess. I just didn't know what was going on. It's filled with all the shaky cam and nonsense, and I just felt dizzy at points. However, in that second half, it once again has that focus there. The camera work becomes so much smoother and more tight and focused, and it just became so much more enjoyable to watch. And I do love that injection of culture and the mystique around this Monkey Man's character. They really do a good job of building this character up and giving him an interesting story. It almost feels like a superhero, but not at the same time. Maybe some kind of comic book character in a way, but it just really works for the movie. I love what Dev Patel does with it. It's interesting, it's original, and by the time you hit the ending of this movie, you can't help but feel just so good about this movie and what it delivers on. Overall, is Monkey Man a perfect 5 out of 5 movie that's the best in the genre? Absolutely not. I do think there are many flaws with this movie. It definitely feels like a directorial debut, but I'm first and foremost really glad that Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw Productions picked this movie up, took it out of the streaming cycle where it was just going to become another movie, and put it in theaters where it belonged, because this is where it does belong, on the biggest screen possible, with an audience that is just having a great time. I think Dev Patel really deserved that, and I'm so glad he got this vision out and this exciting project that is a new voice in the action genre. And I cannot wait to see whatever he does next if he continues to pursue directing. We know he's a masterful actor, but I think he can do some really special things in the director's chair too. I'm going to give Monkey Man a solid 3.5 out of 5. I definitely recommend you check this one out, but just keep your expectations in check. Anyway, those are my thoughts towards Monkey Man. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.